Welcome everyone to the FCHS Wellness Wednesdays with FCHS. My name is Sarah Elnikib and I'll be your host today. Before we get started, we'd like to ask you a few questions about your demographics. This data is reported to the USDA to show that we're meeting diverse audiences. And at the end, we have a few evaluation questions about the session. We'd like to hear your feedback and help us improve our programming. Thank you so much for participating. Excellent. Welcome everyone to Wellness Wednesday with FCHS. My name is Sarah Elnikib and I'll be your host today. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Chris Zeller with Making Time for Snack Time session. But before we get started, I have a few housekeeping tips that I'd like to discuss. The first is that the session is being recorded, and so we will have the recording available for you on the website by Friday, hopefully. Chris, do you mind turning to the next slide?
Sure.
So all of the participants are muted and blocked. If you have any questions for the presenter, please put them in the Q&A box. If you have any technical issues, please use the chat function. Any questions for the presenter that are asked in the chat function will not be answered. All questions need to be sent through the Q&A box because it'll help us keep track of the questions we've answered. As I mentioned, this is being recorded and we will have all of the information for this session on the Wellness Wednesday website. So with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Chris Zeller. Chris is the Family and Community Health Sciences Educator of Cape May County for Rutgers Cooperative Extension, where she presents wellness, nutrition, and fitness information to Cape May County communities. She has an extensive experience in creating healthy changes around food environment for communities. Her work in the area of policy systems environmental change has led her to seek her master's degree in public policy. Chris enjoys working with collaborative partners to create healthy options in the community and collaborate to many committees to make healthy living environments. As a member of the FCHS team, she is working with her colleagues to study best practices around policy changes that will create sustainability in the area of nutrition equity. Chris has worked in fitness for over 25 years and in nutrition and wellness for over 10 years. She's also a trained tobacco specialist with experience counseling and smoking cessation. She lives and works in Cape May County with her husband and 3 sons. Thank you so much, Chris, and please go ahead.
Thanks for having me. Just a little bit more housekeeping. I just wanted to refresh everyone, in case you didn't know, or to refresh you before I start the presentation, that Rutgers Cooperative Extension structure, for anyone that doesn't know, Rutgers is a partnership between the county boards of chosen freeholders, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, and USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture. We have faculty and/or staff in 20 of the 21 New Jersey counties. We're composed of 3 different departments, which include agricultural and natural resources, 4-H youth development, and family and community health sciences, or FCHS. FCHS provides outreach in New Jersey and beyond on topics related to nutrition, chronic disease prevention, food safety, and overall wellness. We hope that you'll visit our website for nutrition and wellness related resources and follow us on social media, and they're both listed there on the slide if you'd like to do that. As Sarah said, my name is Chris Zellers, and I am with the Rutgers Cooperative Extension Family and Community Health Sciences Department of Cape May County. Today, we're going to be discussing making time for snack time. Snacking can really be an important part of a healthy lifestyle, and in today's discussion, we'll cover 3 objectives. First, we're going to discover the benefits of snacking, and secondly, we will talk about healthy snacking to support a well-balanced diet, and then finally, we're going to talk about making sure that your snack is everything that you need. I always like to start my discussions with some information and background that supports the conversation. So this is information from the International Food Information Council, and they provided this information in 2019, where they did a survey that sought snacking habits. The survey results show that 57% of the people surveyed snacked at least once per day, and it also showed that 31% of people snacked a few times a week, and then 3% of the people they polled said that they never snacked at all. These results show us that a number of people do snack during the day, and while snacking can sometimes get a bad rap, it can also be a critical part of fulfilling food voids during the day and making sure that we get all the nutrients we need throughout the day. So it can help us to get what we need as long as we're not choosing snacks that aren't the healthiest of options. In the same survey, which was done by Alyssa Pike of the International Information Council Foundation, the results showed that people said that they snack for several reasons. For instance, they wanted to get something nutritious, which is a really good reason to snack and should be probably the reason you're snacking is to have a nutritious snack. We'll talk a little bit more about this as we move on, but there's often a good deal of time between meals and a healthy snack. And people said that that is another reason that they do snack, if they're hungry in between meals, which is, again, another good reason for snacking. And then finally, people snack because they need energy. So going back to the second statement that they were hungry in between meals, that can also be, cause a lack of energy or be a lack of energy. So fueling up with a snack can provide us with energy and get us through the day in a well-balanced way. This, to just read a few of the points off of it, again, is from the same IFIC Foundation survey. And they said, they asked people the reasons for why they were snacking. And 12% of the people surveyed said that they snack to have something nutritious, which again is the best reason for doing it, but it's only 12% of the people. 25% of the people surveyed said that they were craving something sweet, and that's why they were snacking. And then just below 25% said that they had a craving for something salty. So there's other reasons, it's a habit of mine. There's different things incorporated in there. But to just try to take those three topics and talk a little bit more in depth about them during this session so that we have the opportunity to hopefully make some changes that are beneficial to us. I pointed those three specifically out to you. Since several people are, a percentage, 25%, a little less than 25% are saying that it's due to cravings, I wanted to talk about how to look at those cravings in a different way and see what we could do based on those cravings to eat something that was a healthier option. And we'll continue on throughout the conversation about that. But one of the things I want you to do, I'm giving you a little assignment here, is just to consider the reason that you are snacking during the discussion. So as I'm talking, think about when you snack, what you're snacking on, if it is a craving, what you're choosing as options during your snack time. And then as we progress through the conversation, think about ways that maybe you could use some of the ideas that I present to help you make snacking something that you can do during the day to be a healthy part of your lifestyle versus something that you're doing that might not be the healthiest of options. So just think about that as we go through the conversation, and hopefully that'll give you an idea of a way to make this lecture beneficial for you. All right, so picking the right snack can contribute to a healthy living plan, like I said. Choosing a healthy snack can prevent hunger, and it can prevent binge eating or eating something quickly just because it's in front of us. And it can also help to reduce cravings. If you have a plan to snack at a certain time every day, or you take along a snack that's pre-made, or even have an idea of what you want to be snacking on that's a healthy option and it's something you would enjoy, you may be less likely to make a poor choice and less likely to have something that's too salty or too sugary in the process. So really being mindful about what you're doing can help to reduce cravings and reduce poor snack choices. Using a snack to fill in between meal times is a really good way to stop from becoming over hungry. And there's that commercial out there for a candy bar that they talk about, they call it being hangry. And I know I sometimes get hangry because I don't have enough food. It's too long in between the meals. So having something to fill in between meal times, that gap between meal times, is a good reason to snack. And if you do it very consciously and mindfully, then you'll be able to realize, have something that's good for you versus having something that's not so good for you. And then finally, you can benefit from having healthy snacks by balancing your energy levels out. Because again, we're less likely to make a good choice if we're low on energy. We're going to try to crave something that will give us a little more energy. And that comes to play when there's sugary snacks involved. Sugary snacks, we see a sugary snack because we're hungry and we have low energy, and we think our bodies tell us, oh, that'll give me energy. So if you have that sugary snack, it's going to give you immediate energy. But the problem is going to be is it's going to wear off really quickly, and then you're probably going to munch on something else that's not so healthy. So having a healthy snack and planning that out in between meals will help to keep your energy level balanced, and it'll help you to eat healthy across the board all day long. So snacking can benefit us greatly by reducing poor food choices, and it can keep us energized between meals. So they're really the benefits and reasons why we do want to have snacks. So the USDA My Plate recommends that we have a healthy daily meal plan, which includes the 5 food groups at each meal. And everybody's familiar with these. It's, half our plate's fruit and vegetables, whole grains, half our grains should be whole grains, some protein, and some dairy. Sometimes eating all 5 food groups at each meal may be difficult. So breakfast is a good example of a time when we may not get all 5 food groups in, for instance. So at breakfast, if you have some yogurt and some granola on the yogurt and maybe some fruit on the yogurt, and then you have an egg, you've gotten 4 out of the 5 food groups, but you haven't gotten that vegetable. So having a snack in the morning, mid-morning, after your breakfast time is a little bit past and lunchtime isn't quite there, will help to feed that gap in between the meals. And it'll also give you the opportunity to put that vegetable that you missed at breakfast in. So you could take carrot sticks with you and have those for the vegetable that you missed with your morning meal, or you could have peanut butter and celery sticks, or you could have some tomatoes, something that's going to fill in that gap. So eating the food groups and eating a snack can help, can get all those different food groups that we're trying to hit every day in. And it's also going to help to stop that impulse eating, if you have that snack in between and you're getting all that you need. Having a snack between meal breaks for the long period between eating keeps us full during the day so that we don't grab something and we don't, as I mentioned before, munch on something we shouldn't have. Eating a well-balanced diet that includes all 5 food groups is really important, and this will help us to grab a hold of what we need from all 5 food groups. Planning your meals is important, and a lot of people have started doing that more. There's been a lot of highlights about that in different health magazines and benefits, and we talk about planning meals in our department at FCHS. But I think one of the important things is to think about snacks too. Planning is an important thing to do throughout the day, and if you make a snack that you can take along, like a grab-and-go purpose, that's great. If you plan something, if you're out and about and you're going to have something from a convenience store, say you didn't have something packed already and you think, oh, I'll stop and grab something from a convenience store or a bodega, then think about what you're going to have before you go into the store. Think about where the healthy options are. A lot of the stores now have healthy options, aisles or coolers with healthy food in them. So avoid the sugary aisle or the salty aisle and go over towards where it's healthy. Or sit a second and say, okay, again, like this morning at breakfast, I didn't have a vegetable, so I think I'll have my vegetable. I didn't have a fruit, so I'll grab some fruit. So think about what you're going to do ahead of time and plan that out. Grab and go is a really easy way to make that happen. And then, make sure that you're using it to balance your energy levels. Take a look. If you're only eating 3 meals a day and you find yourself reaching for things in between, you're probably low on energy. So you want to make sure that you have that ability to balance in there when you need it, whatever time it is during the day, that it's something that you're mindful of and that you can carry that through to make sure that you're balancing out your energy. And doing it with My Plate and 5 food groups a day will help to balance that energy, so we're getting everything we need throughout the day. So there's several ingredients for making a healthy snack. I can't, when people ask me what I do, and I'm sure a lot of my colleagues find this too, people ask, what do you do? And you tell them what you do, and they say, oh, I need you to make me a meal plan. Well, that's a great concept, but it's better that you make your own meal plan. And so you need to have an idea of the different things that make you happy and give you fulfillment and satisfaction in your day, because I might enjoy peanuts and you might not be able to eat peanuts. So me making you a meal plan isn't as good as you knowing how to make your own meal plan successfully. So the ingredients to do that, the ingredients for a great snack is, first off, make a healthy snack that has several components. First, you want to make sure you're eating a snack that's nutrient dense. Things like nuts, fruits, and vegetables are nutrient dense, meaning that they have a lot of good nutrition in them for our bodies, and they don't have empty calories. And by empty calories, we mean foods that have no nutritional value. They leave us hungry and searching for something else really quickly, like I mentioned before. They are things like candy, chips, and sugary drinks. And those empty calories may supply short-term satisfaction, but long-term, they don't have the nutrients we need, and they're not going to help us to maintain a healthy weight like a nutrient-dense snack will. The second thing you want to make sure is that it's something you enjoy. So, if you take a snack along with you to work or on a trip or something like that, and it's something that you don't enjoy, then you're not going to eat it, and you're going to search for something else later, and it's not going to make you feel satisfied. So try to find something that you enjoy. Talk to other people and see what the things that they enjoy, or search around for some snacking ideas. My favorite afternoon snack is peanut butter and an apple. It gives me a little bit of sweetness, which I like, but it also is I use it during a time of day when I'm needing that. So usually like around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's a good time for me to have that snack. It's enjoyable. It's on the healthier track because it has a protein as well as a fruit in it, and it tastes good. So it's leaving me satisfied and it's leaving me full. Don't use snacking as an excuse to eat unhealthy food. Rather, consider it a time to add to your already healthful diet. Don't make it your cheat time or something like that. Make it a time that you continue on your healthy eating pattern throughout the day. You want to also make sure that your snack is light but enough to sustain you. So eating, a carrot stick and then not having anything and being hungry again in another hour isn't probably enough to sustain you. So try to combine a protein and a fruit or vegetable, or combine a vegetable with a dairy product like cheese or something like that, if that makes you feel more sustained. But make sure that it's not so much food that it's a full meal and is very calorie dense, but make sure that it's something that's a little on the lighter side and is going to keep you happy and full. And then finally, make sure that you're aware of the portion sizes. So eating nuts is a healthy option, but if you sit down and you eat the entire jar of nuts, that's not a healthy option. So you want to make sure that your portion size is in level with being a snack size portion. Try not to eat right out of the package. That's a habit that's really easy to get into. And if you're sitting at the computer working during work time and you're having your afternoon snack and you're just eating out of the package, or if you're watching TV or something like that in the evening and just snacking that way, you're likely to eat a lot more than you realize. And you're also a lot more likely to eat a big package of it. So what I suggest is try measuring things out ahead of time. You can see in that top corner slide next to the peanuts, I have a little bowl measured out, and it's small, but it is enough to sustain you and fill you up. So if you measure that out ahead of time, you're going to be in a lot better position to eat not too much, but rather a portion size. And, even good things, too much of a good thing, you want to be careful of too. So make sure even when it's a good thing, you're using a portion size. So I mentioned a few times planning ahead, and I know that that's really, in the real world, this is a very difficult thing to do. We have work and activities and kids and school and all kinds of things going on. But taking that extra time to plan ahead could be really, really beneficial for us. So taking the time maybe, over the weekend to pre-slice vegetables and put them into zip-sized bags that you can just grab and go will really go a long way in helping you to make healthy choices on your snacking items. And then if you're unsure, again, of ideas and what to do and how to use, best use your snacking efforts, then maybe check in the grocery store, the food store. When you go in there and they have prepackaged items, a lot of times they'll have that 100-calorie item, like nuts or something like that. It can be pretty costly to buy them and you're not getting as much. So maybe use those ideas that they have in the store, like the almonds in a certain measurement, or the nuts in a certain, or even the peanut butter and apples in a certain measurement, and make those at home. Make your own prepackaged healthy ideas with a twist, so that it's more cost effective and you're prepared and ready to go. When you're thinking about snacking, don't forget whole grains. You know, as I mentioned before, we're trying to add in what we might have missed during the day, during our regular meals. So if you can have a whole grain pita with some hummus on it, that's a great snack, because again, you're getting two of the food groups and then you're hitting that whole grain. So snacking is a good way to add in that whole grain area. Find a protein food that'll fill you up. I put the picture of the hard-boiled eggs there. I try to make it, again, it's something that takes 15, 20 minutes to boil up the eggs, throw a couple in for the week, have them in a bowl. They're in their own container, and you can just grab and go and take them with you. So that's something, it's protein, it's already packed in the size measurement, it's got it all going on. So think in those terms of things that already have, are easy to do and are, something you're going to eat and fill you up. And protein helps to fill us up. So that's a good choice for a snack. Always, like I said before, be mindful of portions and be mindful of serving sizes. I'm going to talk a little bit about the food labels. You want to make sure you're looking at your food labels for serving sizes and, checking for your daily intake of food, how much you want to have for a serving size. Have fruits and vegetables accessible and ready to go for grab and go convenience. So in addition to pre-slicing vegetables, one of the things that's really helpful for families is for you to take apples and wash them and put them on a basket or a bowl on the counter or in the refrigerator. Grapes is another one that's great. Cherries, anything, pre-cut the cantaloupe or watermelon, things like that. But having them accessible for grab and go convenience is going to be cheaper. Number one, it's going to be more cost effective, but it's also going to be something that your family's more readily likely to do. So one of the things that I have surveyed children on, and when I go into the classrooms at school, is asking them if they would eat more fruits and vegetables if they were in a basket or a bowl on the counter or in the refrigerator. And the children almost always said yes, they would eat more fruits and vegetables if they saw them. And when things are there and they're in front of us, we're more likely to eat them anyway. So go ahead and take a little bit of time to wash them up and have them ready to go. And then your family and you will be more likely to choose those for snacks, probably. And then when you're considering convenience, always think about the healthy option. Again, when you're running into the store, make sure that you think ahead, plan ahead, and say, okay, I'm going to have this option before I go into the store. And always be cautious to watch for sugar, fat, and salt content. So sometimes we'll see things that might have a label on them that say they're low fat or low sugar or low salt content, but look at the ingredients, because sometimes they take one thing out and put other things in higher content. And sometimes things are have a lot more sugar or salt in them than we might think they have. So looking at that label is really an important part of making sure that you're healthy, your snack is healthy, and you've planned ahead for that. All right, so I did want to, like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the food label. This is a side-by-side comparison, and reading food labels is important when you're snacking. When I teach children, I always ask them if there's a food label on an apple, and you get a lot of puzzled looks, and they say, yeah, there's a little sticker on there. And yes, there's a little sticker on an apple. It's usually a sticker to tell us whether it's a Aroma apple or a Honey Crisp or whatever type of apple it is. And we peel that sticker off, so they get confused about what the label means. But there's no nutrition label on an apple, and that's because it's simply an apple. So an apple is a whole food, and while we might not know how many calories or are in that apple because there's no nutrition label, we do know that it's a whole food and it's just an apple. And I just tell you this to remind you that the only ingredient's an apple. And when we're looking at the food label and the nutrition label, you want to read how many ingredients are in there. And you want to really look and make sure there's fewer ingredients. Things with fewer ingredients are going to have less things that we don't want in there. So try to shoot for whole foods. Try to do make snacks that are have fewer ingredients for them if they are packaged. And if they are packaged, make sure that you're reading the label and that they're low in sugar and sodium and trans fats and the bad fats that we don't want to be consuming a lot of. This slide shows a side-by-side comparison of the new and old food label. And again, on August 5th, my colleague from Mercer County, Michelle Brill, will be doing a presentation on food labels, which I encourage you to tune in and watch. And she's going to cover a lot of that. So I'm not going to hit on a lot of it, but I just wanted to let you see that side by side, there is a comparison. The new food label has a lot of things that are really jumping out at us, and that was the purpose behind it. So when you're looking at this new food label, know that, several things have changed. They have made added sugar they have put on there. So if an apple did have a food label, it would not have added sugar. It would just have sugar because it has naturally occurring sugar. So the added sugar is things that are added into the product, additional sugar. And then it also has a larger, bolder type for the serving size because they want you, again, to be cautious and aware of what the serving size is. The serving sizes have been updated. The calories are larger and larger, bolder type so that we can see those and be mindful of the calories that we're consuming in a package. And then they have updated the daily values as you go down the line here for cholesterol and sodium and things like that. And then there have been changes in the nutrients required and the actual amounts declared on the other side of the nutrients. So that has changed. And then finally, there's a new footnote down at the bottom that you probably will notice because it's really tiny, but they're just some of the changes that are coming, and I'm sure Michelle will hit on a few of those as she goes through her discussion on August 5th. So when you're reading the food label breakdown, you want to make sure that your snack is low in saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium. That's very important. But the things you want it to be higher with, if it has a food label and it's a packaged food, is that it has more vitamins, mineral, and dietary fiber. So they're the good things, and the bad things are the saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium. So with all those snacks out there, there's a lot of them. What's the snacker to do? You want to make sure that you read your food labels and that you know what you're consuming. And you want to choose foods that are complete and they help your dietary needs for the day, so that you're taking into consideration that it's part of your healthy meal plan for the day and that it's contributing something that's healthy for you. You want to snack for energy. So remember we talked about, needing energy. I think when, you need energy, you're more likely to reach for something that's sugary. If you think about, I told you in the beginning to really start thinking about when you snack and how you snack. Think about, are you snacking at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Is that your go-to time where you feel really, like you need a little energy and you're going to reach for something to snack on? Reach for something that's going to give you energy. Reach for something that's going to, sustain you and keep you full, but it's also going to give you some energy and make you feel good so that you're not needing something right away, or when you go to make dinner, you're not munching on things that you shouldn't be munching on. So make your snack something that contains energy and is healthy for you. And then finally, which is something that I say over and over again, I know it's hard to do, but try to plan ahead. Think about what you're going to eat ahead of time. Even if it's in the morning as you're waking up, think, this morning I'm not going to have a vegetable. Where can I put that vegetable during the day? What snack can I add that to during the day? So there's, an idea of what to do and how to think about it as you're moving forward. But the most important thing, again, I go back to all the time, is enjoy what you're eating. Make it something that is keeping you sustained and keeping you full and is a healthy option. And there's a lot of things out there that you can do to make yourself feel full and fulfilled. And I hope that you'll think about those as you're doing your daily snacking plan. And those are my references. And Sarah, we're back to you again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris, for that. It was really inspirational, and I can definitely relate to the hangry problem sometimes.
Yeah, I'm looking. It's probably about time for me to have a snack now.
Yeah. So right now I'm going to start the poll, which is a series of questions, about 9 questions about everyone who's participating. It helps us understand a little bit about you, who you are, and how you thought the presentation went. And we also report this data to the USDA to show that we're meeting diverse audiences. In the meantime, Chris, we did get a few questions during the presentation. Just an FYI about the poll before we go into the presentation. Please complete all of the 9 questions before you click submit. Once you click submit, unfortunately, there's no way to get the questions back to you. Okay, Chris, so we have a few questions. The first was when you mentioned you have peanut butter with the apple, how much peanut butter do you usually have?
Usually I do a tablespoon. I measure it out. And again, you know, I have those little containers, plastic containers, that if I'm going into the office, I'll put that in there and I slice up the apples and dip them in, just so I'm not, again, overeating, making sure that portion size is what you need. Yeah. And a good thing, one of the things that I would suggest is if you go to myplate.gov, the USDA site, they'll have on there, you can put in your, you know, your activity levels, your age, your gender, those kind of things, and they'll give you an idea of how many calories you should be consuming to maintain a healthy weight for yourself. So me saying, you know, it's different for everybody, and activity levels are different for everybody, and the age. So they're all going to play a factor in what it takes for you to maintain a healthy weight. So you can use that tool to look at how you can, you know, find what's best for you and then model what's good for you around that. Because food labels are based on a 2,000 calorie diet. And for somebody that might be perfect, and for somebody else it might not be. I keep saying to my husband, everything's designed for him, 5'11" man, you know, but it's true. I think that, you know, 2,000 calories might be great for one person, but not so much for the other. So you can use that tool to figure out what would be the best for you and how much serving sizes are good for you.
Excellent. Another question from Kathy is about natural sugars. She says, is a natural sugar item better than a sugar-free item that has sugar substitute?
Okay, so you're asking if a sugar substitute is better than a natural sugar?
So she's asking if natural sugar is better than a sugar-free item that has sugar substitute.
So I always use this comparison, and Sarah, you can chime in because you're an RD. Your body doesn't go, oh, this is a sugar substitute. You know, natural, when you say natural sugar, like I always say to the kids, if you eat an apple versus a candy bar, an apple has fiber attached to it, so your body's going to burn that a little bit more evenly. With the you know, having a candy bar, it's going to go whoop and down again, like that roller coaster feeling. So I think that, you know, the substitutes have their own issues, which are still under investigation in many cases, and there's a lot of different research out there around them, but they're still investigating them. And I think that if, you know, you eat a whole food, you're better off than eating a substitute food. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Sarah.
So I think it just is a matter of how much sugar we're taking in. So I know a lot of times I love dates, and so I buy dates and they say, you know, natural sugar on them. So it makes someone think that, oh, this is perfectly healthy, you know, if I have a lot. But unfortunately, dates are naturally high in sugar, right? And so they're gonna still be a high calorie snack, and I know that when I eat them, I have to balance them with something like nuts so that I have a little bit of protein and a little bit more fiber. And so absolutely natural sugar is a great, you know, way to go, but you want to make sure that you're looking at the label still and making sure that, you know, how much sugar you're taking in is enough. And not all sugar substitutes are artificial. There are a lot of sugar alcohols now that are available on the market, and those are just basically not absorbed into our bodies. They come out the other side. So you know, it's another option if you don't want to use an artificial sweetener. You can use a sugar alcohol, which is also considered sugar-free, but is actually a sugar alcohol. So actually, this kind of brings us to her next question, which is about what's the right amount of sugar, sodium, and trans fat to have each day, and how do you know what is high versus low, or low versus high?
I don't know if I can go back to the slide or not.
Yeah, go ahead.
You see that? It's hard for me to see, my bad eyes here. So they have percent daily value down the side here. And you can see that it's going to give you a percentage, and that's for a daily value. So I try to explain, I'll take sodium, for instance. So if we take sodium and where the recommended daily allowance is 2,300 milligrams, if you're eating this packaged good that looks like it has 160 milligrams, then if you add that up, I was trying to do this with my son the other day with condiments because he's going condiment crazy. I said he's eating condiments all the time. And I'm like, there's so much sodium in that. Let's add that up. So if you take, you know, ketchup has, say, 6 grams, I'm just making this up, 6 milligrams, and the mustard has 20 milligrams. If you add that up during the day, that's going to give you how many milligrams you're supposed to have. So there's different allowances for the different items. And Sarah, I don't know if you can speak to that either. I mean, I know 2,300 milligrams in sodium, and I know that their sugar, again, there's not a daily requirement for sugar. You know, I know that there are certain people, certain associations and agencies put limits on them, but there's no, you don't have to have sugar to survive. You get it naturally when you're eating apples and fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, and in general, women shouldn't have more than about 25 grams of sugar a day, and men about less than 40. And kids a lot less than 25. I know that's the kids.
Depending on the kid.
Yeah. So that's how you kind of want to gauge. You also want to just recognize, you know, how is your sodium or sugar intake overall. You know, so if, for example, you don't have a lot of sugar at breakfast, you don't have a lot of sugar at lunch, and your snacks are pretty low in sugar, then maybe you can splurge on a, you know, snack at the end of the day that has a little bit more. It's kind of like your budget that you can eat whatever way you want. And then I just wanted to go ahead, Chris. No, please.
I was going to say, I think it's important too to point out that if you're eating a nutrient dense diet that has a lot of vitamins and minerals and fruits and vegetables and whole grains and good lean protein, that you really shouldn't have a lot of extra room for sugary snacks or sugar, or, you know, a lot of sugar. So that should hopefully get your needs through the natural ways, I guess. To put it.
And then the last question was about trans fat, how much is allowed per day, and that's an easy one. It's 0. So the Food and Agriculture Organization, as well as the USDA, they all recommend that we have about 0 grams of trans fats every day because they are very dangerous. Chris, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm looking on here for the trans fat, and you have to be careful too. I'm that there's 0 in there in the trans fat, because sometimes there's like 0.5 trans fat in there, and they have made efforts to take it out of our processed food. But you just want to be careful about that, because they found, you know, overall that we don't want to have any trans fats in our diet, and it's really not conducive to a healthy lifestyle. So yeah, 0.
Yeah. So you want to definitely check the label, make sure that there are no trans fats in any of your foods. And sometimes, like Chris said, look at the label to see if there's something like hydrogenated oil, that's a trans fat, and or any of those other kind of keywords. And so I recommend anybody who's interested to come to Michelle's talk on labels, and hopefully she'll be able to discuss that.
Yeah. And I think too, you know, sometimes there's a lot of times when not just reading what the ingredients, or I'm sorry, not just reading the numbers here, but reading the actual ingredients is an important fact too, Sarah, and to know that there's different names, like the hydrogenated oils are trans fats. So knowing that it might be listed in the ingredients label, but it might have been enough that it's skimming under to that 0 or 0.5%. So look at both the nutrition facts here as well as the ingredients label when you're reading.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, do you mind going to the last slide? While she does that, if anybody has any other questions, please feel free to enter it in the Q&A. And I see that someone put in the chat the demographics, so thank you for that. And if there's anything, if anybody has any other questions, please feel free to ask in the Q&A box. In the meantime, I'd like to recommend that everybody register for our next Wellness on Wednesday session with FCHS, which will be on mindful family meals with, oh, sorry, with Sander Gensi. So the poll has ended. So thank you so much for all those who have completed the poll. I think a few people didn't, but thank you for all those who did. So our next Wellness Wednesday session is on July 15th on mindful family meals. We recommend that you register and attend. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the Q&A session. And as I mentioned, this session is being recorded and will be posted on the Wellness Wednesdays with FCHS website. As well as Chris will send a thank you email to everyone once the session is over and up on the website. So hopefully by Friday you'll get the thank you email with
yeah, I have a recipe for them and some other goodies that I'm going to send. So
excellent. I don't see any other questions. Matthew says very informative. Thank you.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Roxanne says label reading very helpful. Thank you. So Roxanne,
yeah,
come to Michelle's session.
Yeah, I can't wait for Michelle's either. And I didn't want to go too far in depth on it. I just wanted to touch and make sure everybody understood that it's really important, not just for what you're eating during the day, but even at snack time, to be mindful of the labels.
Yeah, excellent. Well, with that, I'd like to thank you so much, Chris, for your presentation. It was very informative and very helpful. Definitely reminds me to have more snacks. And so I'll be sure to do that. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.